Hello and welcome to Rhetoric 3326, Technical Writing. My name is Dr. Heidi Harris and I'll be your professor for this course. This video is the welcome video to the class, and in the video we'll be covering three things. First of all, I'm going to walk you through the course Blackboard site, which will be the home or landing page for our course. Second, I'll walk you through our Weebly course website, which contains the assignment information and the bulk of the content for the course. And lastly, I'm going to walk you through Google Docs that will help you with submitting some of the assignments for your course. So let's get started. First of all, as you see here up on my computer screen, this is the announcements page for our Blackboard site. I would recommend every week on Monday coming in and looking at the announcement. I'll also email those announcements to you, and you should have a recording similar to this, probably a little bit shorter, every week that goes over the assignments, the due dates, and some tips for being successful in this online course. So you should land on the announcement page. You will have seen this come through in your course email as well. A lot of the content in this welcome announcement we'll also be covering in this video. This is just for reference if you need to go back and check on a particular part of what we're going to be talking about. So Blackboard site is our first main component of the course. The second main component is the Weebly site, and that's linked in through either the syllabus tab over here at the left-hand side of your Blackboard course or the schedule tab. And these both go to basically the same site. They just take you to different entry points in that site. So I'm going to go over both of those really quickly. First of all, the syllabus tab. This is where the main course information for our course is going to be located. So click on that and review all the information. This is our Weebly site, and this will take you to the home page of that site. The other button that is linked into Blackboard is the schedule. Once you get familiar with the content of the course, once you get your announcement every week, you can go directly into the schedule tab. It takes you to that same Weebly course. You see that same course menu up here at the top, but it takes you directly into the schedule. And the schedule is where all the individual assignments are linked. You can access the assignments through the Assignments tab directly as well, but if you want to work week by week, you can also go directly into the schedule and access your assignments there. And as you can see, each of these underlined components is a hyperlink. You can click directly on those hyperlinks and your assignments will open in a new window. How I recommend working in your browser, whichever browser you use, is to keep both the Blackboard tab up at all times and the schedule tab up at all times. That way you can move back and forth between Blackboard, where you'll be submitting some assignments, and the schedule tab, where you have your assignments, the due date information in the second column, and then some information about what we'll be completing and the readings for the course in this third column. Speaking of readings for the course, our book is called Strategies for Technical Communication in the Workplace. This is the second edition of this book, so be sure that you get not the first edition but the second edition. There's some updated information in here that we'll be accessing in the course. In this schedule, you'll see that all of the readings for the course are going to be highlighted in bold and blue font. The same thing occurs in the assignments as well. So if you go to, let's say, the introductory email assignment, which will be one of the week one assignments, you'll see that the readings for the assignment will also be highlighted in blue. So there's two places that you can access the readings. Making sure that you read the assignments from the textbook thoroughly is incredibly important. I know sometimes we think we can kind of skip by without reading the textbook and still kind of be okay in the course. This is not that course. The textbook is actually the handbook and guide that you're going to use for getting formatting, for getting templates, and for really understanding the content of the course. And I try to pare down so you don't have to read entire chapters too often. You're just going to be reading short chunks of chapters. But if there's a reading in the text, be sure that you've reviewed that thoroughly before you start the assignments. So that's kind of a brief overview of the Blackboard site and the Weebly site and how they interact with each other. I'm going to go back to the Blackboard site for a second and walk you through the rest of that course area. Announcements, syllabus, and schedule will be the three tabs that you're probably going to use most frequently in the course. My recommendation again is every week. I will email you the welcome announcement. There'll probably be a short video involved in that, just like this week. And then no later than I would say Monday afternoon of each week, I would recommend going in and checking this schedule to make sure that you understand the due dates for the assignments each week. Generally, the due dates are going to be Wednesday and Sunday. However, sometimes, as you see in week 1, I give you a little bit of extra time. Some of them will be due on a Thursday, but assignments will be due every week of the course. So if you've taken online courses before where you can log in week 3 or 4 and kind of get through the entire class, or wait till the end of the semester and get through the entire class, again, this is not one of those online courses. I would recommend you spending at least 4 to 6 hours a week in the course. And earlier in the week, the better. If you are the kind whose schedule only allows you to work on Saturdays and Sundays, I will try to have each week's welcome announcement and video up by Sunday afternoon. And again, you should see the assignments for each week so you can work ahead in the course. But be sure that you block off a significant amount of time for this course, just as you would for a seated course on campus. If you meet with a face-to-face or a seated course 3 times a week, that's 3 hours a week on campus, I would just block off 3 regular hours a week to work on this course as well, to kind of get that rhythm established. In the second set of tabs, titled Interaction, you'll find 3. First is the discussion board in the class, and I'll click on and go there. We won't have discussions every week. We have discussions in week 1 and 2 to get us started. We'll have some a little bit later in the term, but we'll have either a discussion or an activity every week. We just won't have a discussion every week. So the discussion weeks are really important. We'll go over that here in a little bit when we go back to the Weebly site. I've also posted a Q&A discussion forum. If you have any questions that you think will help the entire class, you can go into this forum, post them here. So I'm just clicking on the title of that forum. I'm clicking on Create Thread, and I can post a message with a question in it. That generates an email to me. I can go back in and answer that through Blackboard, and if you're interested in receiving those answers, you can actually subscribe. Mine says unsubscribe because I've already subscribed to this forum, but you can go into this forum, click the subscribe button, and you'll receive emails anytime a classmate or myself posts a message to this discussion board forum. This subscribe feature is going to be important a little bit later when we go over discussion board forums in a little more detail as well. Groups is the second tab you'll see in this area. We probably won't be using that tab until about week 11 in the course, so there's not a lot of need to worry about it now, but we will be doing a collaborative activity starting in week 11, and that can be the place where you and your group kind of keep track of work and submit some assignments for me. The next tab is Submit Work here. A few times during the course of the semester, I'm going to ask you to submit work directly through Blackboard. Most of the assignments will be submitted through Google Docs and will be generated back and forth through the UALR email account. But once in a while, such as with the formal report in week 9, the files are a little more complex than Google can handle. So I'm going to ask you to submit through this area, and I'll always direct you to that area in the assignments page as well. This third area is information. You can find more information about me here, some personal information about my background, my education, my personal website, my office location and hours. Because this is an online course, if you need to meet with me and you're not on campus or you have kind of an erratic schedule, just send me an email and say, could we meet online? We could do a video conference through Skype, or we can arrange a time to meet in my office if you are an on-campus student. This is a grades button. I cannot actually access grades through this area because I'm an instructor and it doesn't allow me that function. But if you click on it, you should see an overview of upcoming assignments and the grades for all the assignments you've submitted so far. Shorter weekly assignments that are generally due on Sunday evenings, I try to have graded no later than about Wednesday evening, so 2 to 3 days. Longer assignments, the formal report, the progress report, the proposal, will take me up to generally a week because there are 40 students times how many ever pages those are. That'll take me a little bit longer, but you should be able to find your grades and all your feedback for the course here. The last 2 buttons are support buttons. Library Help will take you directly to the UALR library, and Blackboard Student Support will take you to some tutorials that help you with Blackboard if you've never used this system. The next thing I want to do is take us to that syllabus button. So I clicked on the syllabus button, it popped up this this area. The first thing you'll see is that textbook reminder. This will go away once everybody has the textbook, and the information below that will move up as well. It's a quick description of the course, and then my contact information, including my website and my email address. And again, you can contact me anytime to have an individual meeting. When we work in groups, we might have some small group meetings through Blackboard Collaborate just to make sure you're on track. So just let me know if you ever need to talk to me either in person or through the internet. So the second button is Outcomes. You probably haven't spent a lot of time thinking about the syllabus or about course outcomes. In this course, these are vital because they are linked into every assignment that you have. Every assignment that you have will be assessed for these 4 parameters. Audience awareness, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the Introduction to Technical Writing video. You should see that appearing soon. Collaboration. 21st century professions require individuals to be able to collaborate effectively, and increasingly you have to collaborate using the internet or using remote technology. So we're going to focus on practicing some of those skills in this course. Information literacy, so that's basically research practices, research methods, documentation, being sure that you're working ethically with sources, finding the best sources you can for your audience. And then finally, digital literacy. And again, a lot of technical writing is not necessarily what you do in just a word processor or back in my day on a typewriter when we actually did typewriting. So we're going to work a lot with how you function within various types of online services, online applications to help you be a more successful professional writer. And then finally, in each one of your assignments, you're going to see an area called Think About It, and that's going to have this little kind of thinker icon over here. That's where I'm going to give you specific instructions that tie back to those 4 course outcomes. So in other words, I'll just show you an example. In the Assignments tab, one of the first assignments you have in week 1 is your introductory email to me. It's due this Sunday, January 19th. I give you the assignment, kind of the rundown of why we're doing it, why it's important in the course. And then in the Think About It area, this is going to be where I really hit on what you're going to have to do to be successful with this assignment. You'll see readings linked in down here. You'll see additional videos that give you a little bit more instruction on how to complete elements of the assignment. But really read and think about that portion of each assignment, because that's going to be where I give you kind of the helpful hints for being successful in the class. And again, that's on every assignment under this Assignments tab, which we're going to talk about next. Assignments. If you click directly on that Assignments link, it gives you the overview of what we're going to be doing in the class. It's basically broken down into 3 larger activities. The first is going to be a formal report with some smaller sections in that. Second, you're going to be doing a resource recommendation website with a small group. Last, you'll see you'll be doing a final web folio where you're kind of going to pull everything together, create some application materials, your vita, and kind of a cover letter, although it's not really going to be a letter, explaining your experience and expertise, and that'll be kind of the final for the class. You won't see up here under these tabs those last 2 assignments laid out yet, because I want to get a feel for our writing level and our technology capabilities in the course before I create those assignments. But all of the other assignments you should see linked under here, at least up through week 10. So that covers through midterm and through that first major formal report. Again, these are linked directly into the schedule as well. So this is just kind of the overview section. You'll see side menus for other projects if they have smaller pieces. The report will have a proposal, progress report, peer review. And sometimes you'll see, as you do here, numbers. These refer to the weeks of the course when they're going to be completed. So 1.1 is your introductory discussion board. That's going to be completed in week 1 of the class, and it should be the first assignment you do, so 1.1. Brainstorming discussion board, that's week 2, that's what the 2 is for, and that's the first assignment you'll complete that week. Common writing mistakes, second week, second assignment, etc. So those numbers all reference a week and a number of the assignment. I want to go over this discussion board section really quickly. Again, I just went to assignments, discussion boards, and activities and clicked on that link. This is an overview of the grading for the discussion boards, things that will help you be successful in your discussions. There are a few videos linked into this area as well, so be sure that you go over and read that completely. And I'll be addressing that more as we move on with the course, especially in week 2 when we're doing the brainstorming discussion. A point I want to make really quickly is that discussion to me is actually discussion. It's not going on and submitting a couple of posts and then disappearing. So I'm looking for depth, in other words, that you are actually interacting with your classmates, not necessarily a number of posts. And a good way that you can interact with classmates and fulfill the discussion requirements is by subscribing to individual threads in the discussion board. And I'm going to go over that here in just a minute. Grading, which I'm sure is one of the fastest tabs you'll go to. It's just a straight A, B, C, D scale. But what this page will do is break that down a little bit more, my grading philosophy. And also, if you want to earn a particular grade in the class, these are the kinds of behaviors that you're going to be doing throughout the course to earn that grade. And I want to make a quick note. Students don't often believe this, but I'm pretty firm about this. A lot of students will come in late in the term, realizing they don't have the grade they need and want to either make up earlier work, do extra credit, or have me reassess or regrade some of their work. I do not do any of those things. I am a stickler, particularly in online classes, about late work. You have one pass for any reason. You get sick, you have a issue what you can't meet, you can have one late pass and turn that one assignment in late. The exception's the final project, the webfolio has to be in on time. If you do know something is coming up, you have emergency surgery, something larger is going to happen, please contact me in advance. I don't work post events. So if you take a week off because you're sick and then contact me, there's not much I can do. If you're sick at the beginning and email me and say, hey, I'm coming down with something, can I work on some alternate arrangements? We might be able to work, but I am a stickler about late work and about going and picking up earlier work. Don't ask. Prepare in advance. And this web page will help you prepare for how to do the work that you'll need to get the grade that you need in the class. The grades are weighted, so if you divide points by points that you have, it might not show the same thing in as it does in Blackboard, but Blackboard should always have your accurate, up-to-date grade posted there. A couple more tabs and we're done. Technology. Reliable internet access, vital. Reliable access to a computer, vital. Again, this is not going to be a class where you can log in Sunday at 5 p.m. and expect to complete successfully in a couple of hours. You need to be logging in Monday, definitely, to get your overview for the week, and then at least 1 to 2 more days during the week, preferably mid to late week. If you do have to work on weekends, trying to do as much as you can both the weekend before a week starts and then finishing up the weekend after. But definitely making sure you have access to a computer and internet. UALR email is very vital because I do not answer emails from outside email accounts. So if you send me questions or comments or concerns and it's not through UALR email account, I'll ask you to go in and use that account. I'll communicate through that account, so you need to check it regularly because that's where all the information is going to be going through. We'll also be using the Google Docs through that account. Blackboard, of course, we'll be using Blackboard, so you should be familiar with that. Get a reliable document storage service. Google Docs is one. It's free. You can store documents on there, Word documents, PDFs, PowerPoint presentations. If you find you have larger files that you need to store, I would recommend something like Dropbox or something similar. You can get enough storage space for free to work through this course, but definitely something that stores your files off of your computer. I don't accept my computer crashed, my computer died, my computer was stolen or lost as excuses in the course. So those are kinds of things that happen. We need to be prepared as professional and technical writers for those kinds of things. And getting reliable document storage outside your computer in the cloud is one way to prepare. Make sure you have Adobe Acrobat Reader, and there's a link to download that or to update it if you're not sure if you have it. And then word processing software. Again, we'll be using Google Docs a lot, but a couple times during the term, particularly for the formal report, you'll probably need access to Microsoft Word or Pages or something with a little bit more design function and capability. The policies for the course, I'll just touch on this quickly. I have a netiquette policy, which is basically don't harass, use proper spelling, grammar, and punctuation always. If you struggle with writing, make sure that you have someone look over your text or your post for your discussion board before you post them. I will kick back or give 0 credit on an assignment if the text is not edited professionally. This is a 300 level writing class. Hopefully you'll be writing at the 300 level, which means well edited text. There's also the academic integrity policy, disability statement, and the non-discrimination policy. These are all university policies. You can review these here. Academic offense I want to touch on quickly because I don't accept work that you do in other classes for this class. So if you're doing a research paper in another class and you want to use it for the formal report in this class, that's not going to work. This needs to be original work that you complete for the course. Lastly, the schedule. We've already gone through that. Again, you can access that either directly through the schedule button in Blackboard, or you can access it through the main website, and that has by week, all the assignments, all the due dates, all the readings, additional information. I'd recommend going through and syncing this with your calendar, making sure you upload or enter or write down what your major due dates are so you can kind of keep track of that from the beginning of the term. Two more things I want to go over fairly quickly, I hope, because I know this video is getting a little bit long. Not all the intro videos will be this long. We're covering a lot of ground here. The first element is working in the discussion board. I want to just point out two things really quickly. First of all is going to be creating hyperlinks. If you cut and paste a URL or a web address directly into discussion board forum, it won't necessarily be a hyperlink. You have to create that separately. So if you click on any one of these discussion board forums, you can create a thread. So let's say you're doing your introduction to your classmates. You'll see the description with links to the assignment if you need that, your due date. And then anything that you reference online outside of Blackboard, I'd like you to hyperlink in. It's as a means of documentation. The way that we document online is through hyperlinks. That's a convention, and so I want you to work with creating that. So let's say that I want to take you to my favorite website for the class, which would pretty much be our course website. So I'm going to go find that URL and copy it. I'm going to click on that. I work on a Mac, so it's Command-C, but it might be something different to copy. Or you can always right-click, and it'll allow you the option to copy that URL as well. And then I want to actually make these words a hyperlink. So I don't want to just cut and paste that URL into the document. I want it to be hyperlinked into those words. So I'm going to highlight those words. I'm going to go up here to this little insert and edit link icon in the toolbar. Click on that and paste. So Control V or again right click will allow you to paste into this top box that says link path. Finally, and this is very important, under target, which will make no sense necessarily unless you're in computer science, you're going to want to change that to open in a new window. So you always want hyperlinks to open in new windows so that the individual can keep their original window and the new window open at the same time. Then you just click insert, and that creates a hyperlink. You can submit it, hopefully with more text in there, not just a link to a website, and you'll see this thread post into discussion board. For your discussion boards, because interaction is important, what I would recommend doing is clicking on your thread once you create it in any discussion board, opening up that thread, and then subscribing to your thread. When you click on that subscribe button, what it does is it will generate an email to your Gmail account, your UALR Gmail account, anytime someone posts a response to you. So that way, instead of going back in and checking discussion board and logging in to see if anyone's talking to you, you can subscribe to the threads you're involved with, and then you can just check your email like you would on a normal day and go in and go directly to those threads to see what people are doing or talking about. It's kind of a workaround to help you interact a little bit more quickly, especially if you're very busy. So finally, and this is the last element, I want to talk about Google Docs. We all have access to this service through our UALR email account. So if you log into your email, you should see a little apps menu that looks a little bit like a Rubik's Cube, if you know what one of those is. And if you click on that, one of your options is Drive. And Drive contains a suite of free applications that give you access to a range of tools. All of these are accessible under the Create button. You can create folders, documents, and that's what I'll ask you to do when I say create a Google Doc. But you can also do presentations that look similar to PowerPoint. You can do Excel spreadsheets. Forms allow you to do quick surveys. And then there's a drawing app. I don't use that a lot, but I know I have some friends who use it pretty frequently. So what I would recommend doing first of all, and I'm going to do right now for this course, is going to creating a folder in which you're going to store all of the documents for this course. Name it Rhetoric 3326, whatever you want, technical writing. And that will give you one place in which you can store all of your materials and information for the course. If you know you're going to want to share all of your materials with me automatically, there's a quick way of doing that. If you click on that folder, you can go up to this little icon, which is the Share Folder icon. Click on that icon, and this is my account, so I'm automatically in there. But what you can do is invite people to share your folder. So you could invite me, and if you just start typing my email address, H.A. Harris, in, my name should automatically populate. You can click on that. Make sure this Can Edit button is enabled and hit Share and Save. And what that's going to do is allow me to see anything that you put into that folder automatically. If you don't want to do that, if you think you might store things in there that you don't necessarily want me to have access to, you can also create documents and share them individually as well. And I'll show you what that looks like. If you go again to Create, go down to Document, it will pop up something that looks a lot like a Microsoft Word document. So this is a basic word processor. One of the nice features of this is that it auto-saves, so you don't have to worry about saving over and over. Your text is saved as soon as it is typed, basically. I think that refreshes about every 5 seconds. The first thing you're going to want to do in a document is rename it, and name it whatever the number and title of the assignment is. So 2.2 is Common Writing Mistakes. So I'm going to go in and name it that so I know exactly what that file is and hit OK. So I just clicked on the title. You can go back and rename that at any time, clicking on that title again and fixing that area. If you want to just share individual files with me once you're done with them, instead of sharing your entire folder, same thing works in each document. You can click on the Share button and add my name into that particular document. It generates an email to me, and then I can see it and edit it as long as that edit function here is enabled. You'll also be sharing some documents with your classmates later in the term, so this will be an area where you can work as well. I think that is all. So I'm sorry that this video was very long. If you have any questions at all about the class, about Google Docs, about the course website, the textbook, please email me. My email is haharris@ualr.edu, and I look forward to working with you this term. Please let me know if there's anything at all I can do for you, and thank you for your time.